Hi there. I am back. If you follow my channel, then you probably know that I took the summer off from making episodes for this podcast. And school just started back up yesterday. So here I am today making another podcast episode for you. And I don't really have a script. I didn't have this planned out. I just realized that there is something that I want to talk about because I think that you might need to hear it. Okay, so this morning, as I opened Facebook, a memory from 4 years ago popped up on my feed. And it was a picture of my oldest daughter on her first day of school in 2021. So 4 years ago. And as I looked at this picture, and of course, I did the whole thing where you can do the side by side of then and now. And as I looked at this picture from 4 years ago and the picture from yesterday, I could not believe the amount of change in her, not just her appearance, which has changed drastically, but just even in the picture itself, you could see her maturity, her confidence level has changed so much in the last 4 years. And it's literally from age 6 to age 10. And so I started really thinking about, oh my gosh, so much can change in just 4 years. It doesn't seem like a long period of time looking back. I remember that day. I remember taking that picture. But as I looked at it, I realized we we lived in a different house 4 years ago. The reality of my life has shifted so much in those 4 years. 4 years ago, I was in my 9 to 5, feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, and honestly kind of hopeless and not really seeing any possibility for me changing things in my life. I had thought about the fact that I wanted something different. I didn't want to be doing the job that I was doing for the next 20 years of my life. And I kind of felt like, but this is probably what I'll be doing. And I felt like it just made sense to stick with it because it was a career that I had been in for quite some time. I knew what I was doing and it felt really safe and really comfortable. And 4 years ago, I was mostly just responding to my life, responding to the world around me, and sort of just being very reactive. I didn't have a lot of intention. I didn't understand how much my mindset and my beliefs were actually shaping my reality. I felt like reality is what it is. And I'm just living in it. I'm just responding to it. And I'm doing the best that I can. So as I started reflecting on that and reflecting on where I am today, the reality of my life today, the fact that I'm waking up in a totally different home, one that I absolutely love and would change nothing about. The comfort level of my life has completely shifted. And I wake up so grateful that this is the life that I get to live. I'm no longer in my 9 to 5. I have my own business where I get to help other people, where I get to actually impact their lives. And the conversations that I get to have on a daily basis literally light me up and give me energy. I don't feel burnt out from it. I don't feel drained from my work. I feel excited and energized by it. I wake up excited that I get to do this in my life every single day. Like, this is my reality. And the drastic difference between this reality right now and that reality from 4 years ago is mind blowing. And as I started thinking about all of these shifts and changes and the differences between today's reality and the reality of 4 years ago, I just got super grateful. I was so grateful for the Melissa of 2021 who realized that she didn't need to stay so uncomfortable, that realized that she wanted to understand more about her own actions and the way that she behaved and the way that she thought about things. She realized that she wanted to be more intentional and that she wanted to have more control over her life. And so she started learning about it. She started taking those first steps to actually make the shifts, to make the changes. And she started getting support in doing so and finding people that she could connect with and surround herself with who wanted those things too and could help lift her up and help move her in the right direction. And at the time, I had no idea where I would be in 4 years. I didn't have a solid plan. I didn't sit down and create a big vision for myself. I just knew that something in me was telling me that I wanted more. I wanted to actually feel good in my life. I wanted to be happier. I didn't always want to be so anxious and so I was just so anxious and I was always trying to control everything in my life, but from a place of like grasping and holding on so tightly to everything. And I had such a fixed mindset that things were very black and white for me. And I literally would get angry about things or get upset about something based on principle alone without actually considering what was going on in the situation or considering the other person's perspective or understanding where my instinctive feelings were actually coming from. I didn't get it. I didn't get any of that. And I also knew that I wanted things to be different. I didn't know how they would be different or exactly what to do to be different, but I knew I wanted it to be different. I knew I wanted to shift and change. And I couldn't even imagine the life that I'm living right now. That was outside the realm of possibility for me 4 years ago. And yet, here I am today, living a completely different reality where the way I see the world around me, the way I see myself, the possibilities that I can actually see in life are just so incredibly different. And I am so much happier and I feel so much better. And I have joy and excitement and freedom in me. I can feel it. I can feel those feelings on a daily basis naturally without having to imagine a different reality for myself. I can feel them just thinking about the reality that is my life right now. And so I think what I really want to say is if you are at this point where you're feeling like you want to shift some things, you want things to be different, and you know that you don't want to be in the same position 4 years from now that you are right now. You don't want to be sitting there in 4 years thinking, I'm still stuck. I still wish my life was different. I still don't like my day-to-day reality where I get up and go to a job I don't love. If you're sitting there in that position right now, I just want to tell you that the shifts that can happen in just 4 years are beyond what you can even imagine right now. And you just have to start. You just have to take those first steps. You have to start learning, start getting the support. Because at the very beginning of my journey, I didn't get support in learning the things that I was trying to learn. And so when I did get support, the difference that it made was going from just knowing about these concepts and understanding the topics to actually being able to embody them, to integrating them into my life and living differently, moving differently, showing up differently. When I finally got support around this, that is when my life truly became much more intentional. And I had someone to help me to see the aspects of my life that I was still blind to, the places where I needed to shift some things and I needed to be approaching them differently. So, if you are in that place where you're feeling called toward more, where you know that you want your life to look different, maybe you don't have a grand vision, or maybe you can't even conceptualize that it could look drastically different. You just know that when you wake up in the morning, you don't want to dread your day ahead. You don't want to feel like you are just stuck and there's nothing else out there for you. If you are in that place where you're finally like, no, I need to take some action. I need to start changing. I need to start shifting. I just want you to know that that is exactly where it begins. You take one step at a time, and then the next step will appear in front of you. And along the way, you will feel the shifts in your life as they happen. You will wake up one day and realize, oh, things are different. I feel different. And that will keep happening over and over and over again. And at the time, it may not feel super significant or super, like, it won't feel like you've made some sort of massive change in 3 weeks. But those little shifts that happen along the way are ultimately what lead to the massive shift that can happen in, I mean, it can happen in less than 4 years. I'm just thinking from that reference point right now. But those are the little shifts that happen over time that ultimately lead to the massive changes that you can experience in your life. And truly, when I say that 4 years ago, if I had tried to picture what my life could possibly look like in 4 years, I never would have guessed this. This wouldn't have been it. It would not have been this amazing. it wouldn't have been this beautiful. And I'm not saying that my life is perfect by any means at all. Not at all. There are struggles, there are challenges that we're all going to face as human beings in this life. So please don't think that I'm trying to say that my life is perfect and that everything's great all the time. That's not reality for anyone. But my day-to-day life and the activities of my day and the flow of my day and the way I'm showing up in my day is completely different. And I never would have believed you if you would have told me 4 years ago that this would be my reality today. So if you are in a place where you're feeling called to start making shifts, but you're feeling like, is it really worth the effort, or this feels scary, or maybe you don't believe that you could actually make the changes, now is the time to do it anyway. Do it scared, get the support from someone who's done it before, who understands what this process looks like, and do it anyway. Because 4 years is going to go by in the blink of an eye. I promise you, because I absolutely cannot believe that this picture that I was looking at this morning was 4 years ago, because it feels like maybe a year ago, right? 4 years is going to go by no matter what, and it's going to go by very quickly. And so now is the time that you get to decide if your life looks different 4 years from now. And we can't change the past. We can't change anything that's already happened, right? But we do get to decide to change our future for ourselves and for our families and for the people around us, because ultimately, those kinds of changes, not only have they impacted me, but the way I interact with my husband, the way I interact with my kids is completely different. When I think about some of the conversations I had with the people in my life 4 years ago, I mean, I remember a time when my husband literally said to me, "You're just finding something else to worry about. That's what you do." That was true at the time. I worried about everything. I had so much anxiety. But literally, I had a conversation with him just yesterday where I was the one saying, what is worrying about it going to do? It's not going to help us at all. Let's think of possibilities. Let's try to figure out a way through this, because worrying about what might happen is going to get us nowhere. It's like a complete 180. That's not who I was 4 years ago. So if you are feeling pulled toward making those changes, do it now. Make the decision and move, because I promise you, you will never regret it. You will never regret investing in your growth, investing in your own life, investing in creating a reality that you actually enjoy living in. And then when I say investing, I don't necessarily even mean financially. I mean investing your time, investing your effort, because those are investments as well. Now, do you want to invest more of your time and effort, or do you want to invest financially? There's pros and cons to both of those things, and can take you on different trajectories. Investing money and time and effort is ultimately going to be your quickest path there, but that's not to say that you can't still get there even if you don't invest financially in it. You can invest your time and effort and just do the work yourself and still create massive change in your life. Okay. I think that is everything for today. I hope that this message reaches the people it's meant to reach because I think I've had so many conversations with women who ultimately are letting their fear get in their way. They're holding themselves back from the potential that I can see inside of them. They are keeping themselves small because they're too scared about what might happen if they try to change. They don't believe that maybe they're capable of it. And as someone who was literally sitting in your shoes 4 years ago, I can tell you that it's all BS. It's absolutely not true. You are capable of anything. Anything you want, you are capable of doing it. I am 100% sure. All right. Until next time, have a good week.